Tywin Lannister is one of the worst people in A Song of Ice and Fire, and it's not even close. Now, over the last decade, Tywin Lannister has become a fan-favorite character in general because, oddly enough, the producers of the TV show somehow viewed him as lawful when he couldn't be further from the truth. Tywin Lannister is not some sort of Machiavellian utilitarian prince. He is simply an insecure hypocrite that single-handedly destroys everything that he once loved and worked for. The first massive issue that I take with Tywin and the way in which people perceive him is the idea that what he does is some kind of necessary evil in order for the greater good of the realm and his house. And this idea is just genuinely stupid. Tywin does not give a single shit about the realm as a whole, and often goes out of his way to commit atrocities on the realm itself that he knows will weaken it for the sole purpose of being super petty. A perfect example of this is the sack of King's Landing. People act like it was some sort of necessary evil, when in truth it was nothing but cruelty dressed up in some sort of strategic maneuver. He used the chaos of the sack to cover up the murder of Targaryen children, not because this was something that he had to do, but because it was something that would win him some points with Robert Baratheon. With the city burning, he could hide their deaths under the excuse of, it's just the horrors of war, while if he had killed them while the city stood untouched, everyone would know that he is a piece of shit and the attack was deliberate. He also knew that with part of the capital being destroyed, the realm would be broke. Rebuilding would cost a fortune, and Robert would need to get gold from somewhere. That somewhere being Casterly Rock. Tywin wanted Robert to be indebted to him. He wanted the new Baratheon dynasty to depend on Casterly Rock for every coin that would keep the crown standing. He didn't help them out of loyalty, it was out of wanting control over the realm. But underneath all of the sort of strategy implemented by Tywin is just one real reason: vengeance. Tywin hated Aerys Targaryen, and ever since Aerys laughed at him, he held a grudge against him. Tywin isn't the cold, emotionless man that he wants people to believe he is. He's a bitter, prideful man who spent years being mocked by Aerys in his court, and the sack was his chance to pay it back. He burned the city and killed thousands of innocent people because his ego demanded it. Not because it was some sort of necessary evil to create the best good for the most amount of people, or something that he was ordered to do. He simply did it because he wanted to, because his feelings got hurt. And this concept of Tywin Lannister being overly cruel for the sake of pettiness, and then trying to retroactively justify it later on, is exactly what happened with the Red Wedding. Many people view the Red Wedding as some kind of 4D chess maneuver by Tywin to eliminate his enemies in one swoop without losing any of his own men in the process. And this just simply doesn't work. Tywin during the War of the Five Kings is in a shitty spot, and he knows it. He keeps losing battles to this kid, and he's gotta end it. So he gets this great idea to break every single value that the world of Westeros holds dear, and murders Robb Stark and his top men while they are all drunk and without their weapons. And sure, he ends the war with the North with the Red Wedding. For a time. Robb Stark and Catelyn being killed in the way that they were essentially turns them into martyrs, and while it definitely weakens the North in the short term, it actually just mobilizes the North to be stronger and more together in the future. Killing a political opponent in a scummy way doesn't weaken their cause, it only strengthens it, because you turn them into martyrs, and that's exactly what Tywin does with Robb and Catelyn in this moment. Because fast forward to A Dance with Dragons, and we find out that the North is mobilizing, that the will of Robb has lived on, and the Northern Lords are actually more pissed off than ever, because most of them lost a family member or two at the Red Wedding. So in assassinating Robb Stark, Tywin solved the issue in the short term, but made it far worse in the long run. And I would argue, when it is all said and done, and the North gets their vengeance, more people would have died due to the Red Wedding happening than if it never happened altogether. Now let's talk about Tywin's relationship with his children. And honestly, he is such a pig when it comes to the way he treated all three of them. The pressure that Tywin puts on Jaime at a young age breaks him. It destroys his sense of wealth, it destroys his values, his dreams, and then Tywin spends the rest of their lives together manipulating and trying to pull Jaime in a worse direction when he's trying to better himself. He then treats Cersei like she's some sort of dog that he can use to breed with other dogs, shipping her off to someone he knows she doesn't want to be with, and then expecting her to just do it again after he passes away. And then there's what he does to Tyrion, and where to even begin with this? So Tywin hates Tyrion and wishes death upon him for literally just breathing, because his wife died giving birth to him, and because Tyrion is a dwarf. Except the real reason Tywin hates Tyrion is because Tyrion is just like Tywin in terms of being a hypocritical monster, except he's more open and honest about who he is. Tyrion is a hard pill to swallow for Tywin because he's the first time in Tywin Lannister's life that he has to come face to face with what he truly is. And that is why Tywin tries to send him to the wall or to get him killed, because he can't stand looking at what he looks like on the inside. Tyrion is also smarter than Tywin though, and that is important to note. And I honestly don't even know how many women get raped because Tywin has a weird insecurity with women. Elia, Tysha, he manipulates and blackmails Shae, he causes Tyrion immense sexual trauma throughout his life, he causes Sansa to be sexually assaulted by Tyrion, he causes Cersei a bunch of sexual trauma with Robert, and that's not even counting the thousands of nameless people in King's Landing that died and lived a horrible existence because Tywin was just a shitty dude. All in all, Tywin Lannister is by far one of the most deplorable characters in A Song of Ice and Fire. I believe a lot of people overrate this character and are too generous with his person because Charles Dance is just so unbelievably charismatic and elevates the characters in some ways, and D&D just never understood the character of Tywin Lannister to begin with, so they attempted to make him more sympathetic than he really is. But in the books, Tywin Lannister is a piece of shit, and George R. R. Martin does not shy away from that fact. The last line that Tyrion says about Tywin after he kills him is, in the end, Tywin Lannister did in fact not shit gold. This is also why at his funeral, Tywin reeks, and everyone can't stand to smell him, because for all of his gold, for all of the face that he was trying to keep, Tywin Lannister was a terrible and rotten person. And if we're being honest, what kind of lion doesn't have a mane? With all that being said, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Please let me know in the comment section down below what kind of content you want to see from the channel in the future, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.